Hey, what's happening, everybody? Thank you for joining us on Landscape Rescue. My name's Stuart Moore. Today is going to be a Let's Plant Stuff episode. I got a bunch of stuff on clearance, and I just kind of wanted to plant it for you guys, show you how I do things. There's plenty of new folks to the channel. Wanted to give the veterans maybe a refresher course on how I like to do stuff, and the new folks some of the products that I talk about. I wanted to let you know how I utilize them. The things I'm going to talk about today, the things I'm going to use. Dr. Earth Gold, right? This is the all-purpose, has the beneficial endo and ecto beneficial fungus, beneficial bacteria. I use a Lesco triple 14. I found that this is the most efficient way to introduce a slow release fertilizer if I'm not using tablets. Tablets, you have one shot to use them pretty much. With minimal amount of effort, I can use them when I first plant something. After that, I typically use a triple 14 or a triple 13. My pre-emergent is Snapshot. This is not cheap, but it works very, very well. I was waiting to do a video to where I could show you guys how I utilize the pre-emergent. I could not find any Agriform, so I had to spring for the Roots Healthy Start tablets. Now these are a little bit different than, they both have miners in them, right? So they both have iron and all the good miners. They both last 2 years. They're both the same gram tablet. I think Agriform comes in 2 different size tablets, but these have beneficial bacteria in them. So they are a little bit more expensive. I think I paid enough. I paid enough for them. I paid probably at least $50, $60 more for this than I did those Agriform tabs. So Agriform tabs for me is the way to go, because I'm inoculating my new with beneficial bacteria here. So the reason I'm using this is because I need the mycorrhizal fungi. There you go. Let's run through what we're planting and where we're going to plant it. Here is some white wedding hydrangeas that I overwintered. Let me tell you, they have been out in my yard on the side of my house in front of God and everybody since last summer. I did have them underneath my hydrangea tree over here in my nightmare bed. I was just hand watering them. I just kind of left them to their own devices all winter long. They made it through the winter. You want to talk about a tough plant? Panicle hydrangeas, they all lived, guys. They all lived. Panicle hydrangeas are tough. Now, some of them, I think there was like 2 or 3 that really didn't come out of the winter well, but I had 6 of them and they all survived. It's crazy. That's the white wedding hydrangea. Now this area used to be what I referred to as the pay it forward bed. I was gonna grow a lot of stuff in here that I could divide, pot up, and then give away. I was thinking I could do something like that in the parking lot of Lowe's, you know, give people plants. This bed just never got enough sun. All but this little corner right here of Veronica have died. All the salvia died in here, and same daylilies, the Shalom daylilies that are over here that are living their best life right up against the foundation, couldn't do it. Yep, they didn't make it. So after 2 years, they're just done. So it is what it is. So I'm gonna plant these here, maybe just as kind of a stopgap. I was gonna maybe try to do an azalea experiment over there, but I don't feel like I have the patience or the time to try that right now with as much content as we're putting out on YouTube. I'm gonna put one more. This is kind of a washed out area that's really starting to cause some issues. I can't get any pre-emergent to stick because it all washes away. I can't get any mulch to stick around because it all washes away, which means this area right here just becomes a combination of weeds and black-eyed Susans. I've sprayed it. I was thinking I'm just gonna put this white wedding right here. That's another white wedding, that's one of the 6. So 5 over there, 1 over here, to just try to help hold the soil there, because it is kind of alleviating that soil out. Grace and Grit Rose is gonna go right here. It's right next to that limelight. There's a pufferfish. We can kind of do a mini garden tour. This is a Japanese snowbell. And so I think that's gonna be really pretty because it's gonna start waking up around the time everything else starts waking up, right? So if you look at this bed, that'll be a pretty good spot because I've got those pink ruffled daylilies back there. Some autumn colors, rutabaga, echinacea. What echinacea? I don't know. Echinacea, because I didn't mark any of it. So it just kind of bred and had a good time and made lots of babies, and maybe that's a baby, maybe that's the original, I don't know. I've got some echinacea, some autumn colors, rutabaga kind of mixed in there with the black-eyed Susans right up front. These are East Friesland salvia. And you'll see I bought like 20 East Friesland salvia on clearance, and this is where I put them. Planted them up here. These were all this Echinacea, Autumn Colors, Irish Eye are all transplants from this bed over here. I got a puppy 2 years ago, and she's awesome. There she is. We can see her if you guys want to see her. That's the lollipop right there. That's the lollipop. Look at you. You want to go into the backyard so you can tear up all my flower beds. I just know it. I can tell. We've been together so long, I can tell what she's thinking. But yeah, these are all transplants. I've transplanted some more Black-Eyed Susans, Autumn Color Rudbeckia, some Black-Eyed Susans, some Autumn Colors Rudbeckia. I transplanted some salvia out of that bed over there, which I just sprayed today. It just became a nightmare. There's Bermuda attacking it from both sides. There's no border separating my neighbor's grass from the left side of the flower bed and nothing separating it from the right side of the flower bed, which is my lawn. I've been spraying with Fusilade, which is a selective herbicide that just attacks particular plants, and I had very good luck with that last year. A combination of Fusilade, some Roundup. Hopefully I can breed some Rudbeckia, either Irish Eye, Autumn Colors in there, and then I'll use them in this bed. But I think this one's pretty much done. Got a back row of hostas, and eventually those are going to be pulled out so I can start buying hostas on clearance if I see them. It's kind of rare that I do, but some of those cooler varieties of hosta, like on the 3 for $10 sale, I would like to get some whenever that happens. This just a second ago, I guess yesterday, I was filming a video at Lowe's and they had 2 for $10. So even at $5 a piece, I would buy hostas. I would buy enough hostas to go in here and then breed them as kind of a pay it forward thing. Hostas back here, I've got that Duet Rose, which is the Iceberg Alley, and then the Iceberg, let's look. White Iceberg and Burgundy Iceberg, that's this Duet here. That's gonna go right in between some more of these daylilies. This is a drift of Bobos here. They go all the way to the front and then kind of round that corner back there. So those are all Bobos. East Friesland salvia, and then these little dahlias, seed dahlias, which are annuals. I'm kind of excited for those. I'm in love with these things. So you guys saw me buy those at Walmart. Oh, the red drift rose, I'm not really super excited about putting it back there or putting it right there, but I don't have any red in this entire bed, and so I feel kind of silly putting some red in there if I can't introduce it throughout to make it a little bit more cohesive, at least if nothing else, just for the color. I'm not gonna bust my chops too bad about it because I paid $12.50 for it. So if I have to dig it up, I have to dig it up. But so that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna use an inoculant. You'll see that. I'm gonna put that on the outside, right? And a little bit on the inside of the hole. I'm using a 7-inch power planter with a right angle Makita drill. I would put on the 9-inch, but I don't know, it's not that big of a deal. I do like the 9-inch, it's a little faster because I can just drill holes, especially for this big 5-gallon Grace and Grit. I might end up doing that, I don't know. All this other stuff, I mean, I feel like I could probably get away with it. I'll put the 2-year fertilizer tablets in there, you'll see that. I'm gonna use the Dr. Earth as an inoculant. I don't have to use a whole lot because I'm not using it as fertilizer. So remember this, when you're reading the application rate for a lot of these inoculants, they're trying to get you to use it as a fertilizer. Well, I don't need it as a fertilizer. I need it as an inoculant. So I'm using this for the fungus. The Healthy Start is going to be my fertilizer. The Triple 14 slow release is going to be my fertilizer. The inoculant, I don't have to use it at the same rate as what they're suggesting because I'm not using it as a fertilizer. I'm using it as an inoculant. So all I'm really after is the fungal spores that are in there. The catalyst for those is this alfalfa that's in here. So I do like that. Pros and cons, I think, you know, you get an 8-pound bag of the Espoma if you can find it. All purpose, has the beneficial fungus in it and the beneficial bacteria. Dr. Earth is a 4-pound bag, so it's a little bit more expensive. But if we're going by weight, the Espoma product's a lot of poultry manure. This is just alfalfa. Does that make sense? It kind of is what it is, but I'll use either one of them. I don't care. I just can't find the all-purpose biotone. Can't find it. In the small bags, can't find them. Okay guys, let's get to it. He spent his cash on greens and blooms. Day
believing, keeping hope alive. But his wallet cried, his rent was due. Collectors banging, they wanted their cue. His plants were lush, but his pockets bare. A man with a garden, but bills everywhere. Take it off under neon beams, shimmying for that garden of green dreams. Dollar bills flying, he's got to gleam. Stripping for fertilizer, it's a wild scheme. He danced for roses, tulips and fern. Every move a dollar earned. Sequins shining, his garden funded. Paying debts while the stage thundered. They cheered his routine, he was a hit. A gardener who could really commit. High heels clicking to the money's tune. All for petunias and a backyard bloom. He's got a spade, but now he's got flair. Fans screaming while he twirls midair. His dance floor's bright, but his heart's on soil. Busting moves to avoid financial turmoil. Got a garden full of hostas and daylilies bright. Hydrangeas blooming under the pale moonlight. Spend my paycheck on fertilizer that's 2 years strong. Now my wallet's empty, but my plants sing a song. Tending my jungle while my bank account cries. Green in the garden, but not in my life.
All right, so I spread my inoculant around the outside and the outside of the hole. There's a grub, and that's because when I push it back in, it's gonna self-mix. That's really important with inoculants, is you want that mixed in with the backfill. So if you know any YouTubers out there that are dumping their bags of biotone in the bottom of the hole, it's not the correct way to utilize those beneficial fungus, because beneficial fungus doesn't move in the profile like beneficial bacteria does. Beneficial bacteria you can water in with water. Beneficial fungus really has to be in the profile. These are 2-year fertilizer tablets that I was talking about earlier. And if I don't set them next to the hole, I will forget to use them. I'm just a dummy like that. So I need to visually see them. But if you do forget, put your tablets in, no big deal. You're just gonna kind of push them down. About 6 inches down, northeast, south, and west, about halfway down. I'm gonna kind of mound this up a little bit because I didn't get that hole deep enough. I won't make that same mistake again. I am gonna use a lot of mulch on this bed. So that will hopefully drive the roots down a little bit. These are some of the toughest plants, so I'm not too worried about it. And this will settle. It'll settle a lot just because I drill them pretty deep. All right, so I've got the beneficial fungus around the outside. And a lot of times at this point, you don't even have to put half the soil in. You can just drop your tablets in there and they're gonna hang about halfway just because how the hole is shaped. And then when I push this in, the fungus that was on the outside now kind of gets self-mixed when I push everything in here. Looks good. Not a flawless execution, but I like to plant everything about 1 inch high. That's just me, because at the nurseries where they grow this stuff, a lot of times they just throw soil right on top of the pot and they bury the trunk. I got used to just planting everything about 1 inch higher than it. Yeah, see, that's fine. There we go. It's not overly complicated. It's very simple. Now, what's happened is All these plants have been planted with 2 years worth of fertilizer. They've been inoculated with beneficial fungus, and they've been inoculated with beneficial bacteria. So you saw how long that takes. It doesn't take very much time at all to just make sure everything gets a great start. As you can tell, I'm not anti-fertilizer. I want my cage fighters and my plants all on steroids. Let me get back to it.
Got a garden full of hostas and daylilies bright, hydrangeas blooming under the pale moonlight. Spend my paycheck on fertilizer that's 2 years strong. Now my wallet's empty, but my plants sing a song. Tending my jungle while my bank account cries. Green in the garden, but not in my life. Started an OnlyFans just to pay my dues. Selling photos of my rake and my earthy tattoos. Neighbors ask questions about my greenery spree. Why I'm eating ramen while my plants drink for free. Big bags of mulch got me living off air, but these begonias deserve all my care. Tending my jungle while my bank account cries. Azaleas with something bold and sly, exclusive behind the scenes as I prune them dry. Subscribers rolling in for the pot and soil teas. I'm the king of the foliage, living life with ease. So here's to the guy with the green thumb folly, living plant rich while his life turns jolly. In the scandalous land, a gardener at heart with a phone in his hand.
I wanted to show you guys this. So this is Bermuda. I don't know if there's any beginners on that are subscribers that don't know what this is. I'm just going to spend a second. So this is Bermuda. All right, looks like this. Okay, and it gets on these big long runs. So you can see it's like from the tip of my fingers all the way to my chin. That's how long this is. They grow, it crawls across my mulch pile, and the mulch has basically been breaking down for 2 years and has become compost, especially at the point now where I'm almost out of even the broken down stuff. So it's real easy to pull up. So I thought that'd be a good learning tool to show you Bermuda. If the parent plant is this far away from your flower bed, you're going to have Bermuda in your flower bed. It's an inevitability. I've been using a product called Fusilade, which is a selective herbicide that goes after Bermuda. Hold on a second, I'm gonna go get it and I'm gonna show it to you. All right, little boy got off the bus, so I also wanted to go say hi to him. So this is Fusilade 2, and it's got this tip and pour kind of measuring system, and how you do that is you unscrew this one and you squeeze And the fusillade goes up here and it fills this up so you can measure it out. I don't want to put any more in there because I only need, I use this little sprayer right here. It's a Lesco sprayer, I think. No, Chaplin, a Chaplin sprayer. I just carry that around and spray stuff with it. Pretty easy to do. A lot of times you don't even see the Bermuda because it's crawling underneath your mulch. So think about it. You got a piece of Bermuda. There's a medium-sized piece. You got a piece of Bermuda this big and it's crawling underneath your mulch. You don't even see it. And then it just pops up, boop, 2 feet away. You've got all this living tissue that you got to fight. So a lot of times if you round it up, it'll just die back to like the next juncture, like the next junction. See all these junctions here? And then it'll die back to there. And then that will send up a little piece. And then you spray that and it dies back to here, and you spray that and it dies back. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be diligent about it. I usually track it. So I try to pull it up and I try to just feather it out real nice until I can see where it's going. And it's inevitably going into the lawn. So my plan, and what I did last year, was I just sprayed the outsides of all of my beds. So anywhere where there was lawn contact with the bed, I sprayed a foot, 2 feet in front of it, right? Now Fusillade 2 is not cheap. And I only need half of an ounce, right? So I think the label rate was like 0.4 to 0.6 ounces per gallon. I could do my whole yard with this, front and back, and really not put a dent in that, because that's gonna last a long time. Yeah, this is 1 quart. And it was pretty expensive. I remember having to eat ramen noodle that week for lunch after I bought that. That was pretty rough. And Snapshot, that'll make you eat some ramen noodle for lunch too. But that Snapshot will last me 2 years. You see how very little I put in. You don't need a whole lot, and a lot comes out when you're, that little hand spreader I found at Goodwill for $2.50. So before you go and buy spreaders or tools, or hit up Council of the Blind, you know, Goodwill, the DAV, you know, that sort of stuff. So, all right, let me get back to it. I'm gonna mulch this real quick.
Yo, ayy, grass so fly, trim it with precision. Much game strong, that's thug life's mission. Rakes and blowers, we roll with ambition. Landscaping kings leave the world in submission. Bushes in check, edges real clean. Thug life landscaping, we run the green scene. Turn your backyard into a royal routine. Plant game sharp, call us the garden machine. Hedge clipper samurai, slicing with the blade. Flower beds on point, it's nature's parade. Stepping up the curb with that fresh cascade. Gutters stay spotless, work never delayed. Hustling on lawns, pushing that sod. Thug life crew, making nature look broad. No gold chains, just a hoe and a rod. Topiary so fresh, people be awed. Bushes in check, edges real clean. Thug life landscaping, we run the green scene. Turn your backyard into a royal routine. Plant game sharp, call us the garden machine. Weeds don't stand a chance, they run in fear. Clovers in rows, magic suddenly appears. A garden revolution, thug dreams premiered. Backing that truck, hauling dirt with no tears.
So you see why I'm really not worried about putting too much mulch on things typically. I mean, this is what that stuff looks like after 2 years of not being irrigated and just sitting in the sun. So if I'm irrigating, it drops. You know, I like to use broadcast sprays because I'm typically using shrub roses. I'm not using anything that's really susceptible to black spot. So I like sprays, one of the main reasons is it just helps break that mulch down so quick. And so you start drilling into soil. This soil was horrible. This soil had plastic underneath, you know, it was like mulch and plastic. We're not talking about weed barrier, we're talking about literally blue plastic. It was like for painters or something like that. I have no idea what they were doing. Blue plastic all underneath here. So the soil was essentially dead when I moved in. And now I got it looking good. And really, it's because of this. I get pole chips, and there's so much broken down material in there that it just breaks down so quick. And so I usually mulching twice a year. Now, if you want to slow that down, if that's not fun use of your time, which mulching necessarily isn't a fun use of my time either, but I see the benefits, so I push through it. Use a hardwood mulch, right? Like oak is a good way to do that. Or even pine straw stays around for a long time, and pine bark nuggets stay around for a long time. So basically what I'm doing is I'm mulching with compost. For all intents and purposes, that's what I'm doing. Okay guys, let's keep digging.
I planted it there by the old front gate, a hydrangea bush that was looking great. Watered it daily, sang it my tune. Thought she'd blossom neath the summer moon. But that dear, oh that dear, it came in the night, a thieving bandit in the pale moonlight.
I really think that'll be pretty with the black-eyed Susans kind of popping all throughout there. A lot of these black-eyed Susans aren't going to make it because I sprayed that pretty good just to kill those wild strawberries out. I think that's going to look real sharp when everything starts blooming, because right there, probably should have told you this, but Japanese snowbell firelight, so that's a firelight hydrangea. And then right on the other side of the Japanese snowbell, over here, we have a pufferfish. This side is the little lime. And a little lime, I'm gonna get a little taller, but I'm still gonna kind of keep it shrubby. And then this fall, I'm gonna come and pull out these pink ruffles daylilies and just kind of move them into an area where they can get seen a little bit better. I think they're gonna do okay this year, but I think next year, when everything thickens up, like the pufferfish gets thicker, I don't know if those stalks are gonna be able to punch through like they will this year. So I'll show you, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Shoot and it nibble, left stem so bare. Now my hydrangea's gone, ain't nothing there. I chased it off with a holler and shout, but that critter's grin said I'll be back, no doubt. It pranced through the fields like it owned the land. My poor hydrangea never stood a chance, 'cause that deer, oh that deer, it had no shame. It stole my bloom like a wild outlaw's claim. Now I'm left with dirt and a gardener's tear, all thanks to that sneaky deer. Well, I could try again, but what's the use when the neighbor deer's grinning, feeling loose? Guess I'll plant me rocks.
I had to shuffle that one around a little bit because I used a 7-inch auger instead of a 9-inch auger. So the hole is a little skinny for that. But if you can see that root ball, that's what you get when you buy a Monrovia, right? They let their stuff grow in a lot longer than some of these more, I don't want to call them generic growers, but growers that don't really take that kind of profit loss, which their plants are more expensive. So maybe it's not necessarily a profit loss. They just hold on to their plants a little longer. They keep them in their pots a little longer. So that way, when you pull one out, it doesn't absolutely disintegrate on you. I've bought black-eyed Susans from Lowe's that just, I pull them out of the pot and it just disintegrates. Now granted, they did fine. I mean, it's a black-eyed Susan, the Conan the Barbarian of the garden, but I mean, regardless, you know, you get what you pay for. You know, spending good money on a Monrovia doesn't really bother me. I bought that other Grace and Grit full retail, so I paid $33 for it, I think, back in the day. So when you see something like this on clearance, even makes it even better of a deal because you're getting such a superior grown plant. Yeah, I'm gonna spend 15 bucks on a 5-gallon Monrovia Grace and Grit, right? For sure.
Guess I'll plant me rocks, they don't taste sweet. Let's see that deer nibble on concrete. Oh, that deer, it's a crime, a plant thief in the dark. It left my garden looking mighty stark. Won't be planting no more, it's clear. Not while I'm living near that hydrangea eating deer.
Okay, so I guess I wasn't recording when I dug this hole. I want to show you, I shook that 3-gallon bicolored rose. That's what was left in the pot, right? So that's the difference. I wish I would have done this first and I would have pulled it back out to show you what the difference is between a Monrovia. I'm not saying it's worth the money, but it's worth the money. That's why I get so excited when I see these Monrovia stuff on clearance, because I know I'm getting twice the plant that's right next to it on clearance, right? So yeah, my clearance Monrovia dianthus might be $7 where this other one's $4, but I'll pay the extra money. Does that make sense? Because I know the survivability is gonna be so much higher. It is what it is. I'm gonna get this to stick. And I don't know if I showed you guys the hardiness zone for this one, but it's good to -20 degrees. So this is a zone 6. I think we're gonna be fine with this guy here, or zone 5. I think that's gonna be really pretty with that white and purple kind of popping up behind. Yeah, I mean, if we can get 5 to 6 feet out of this height-wise, that popping behind these bobos, I mean, that is gonna be such a beautiful contrast. That purple and white bicolored rose behind the bobos with the black-eyed Susans up front and that salvia. We're gonna be just popping them from all angles. They're not even gonna know what to do. Wow, beautiful.
Out in my garden, at the crack of dawn, there's footprints on the lawn where my flowers hang on. Caught the scent of mischief.
All right, when I talk about soil looking good, look at that. Nice and crumbly blue plastic that I just keep finding. I thought I tore all this stuff up, but I still am finding blue plastic in this landscape. But look at that, kind of like a chocolatey brown color. You know, it's mixed with that O horizon, that top layer, which is really, really dark. Dead soil, living, dynamic soil.
Wafting through the air, someone's been plucking green, I swear. Miley's in the petunias, oh what a plight. Smoking my salvia under moonlight. I plant with care, she sneaks at night. Miley won't stop, try as I might. My roses are wilting, my tulips in fear. Every shadow I see, I think she's near. The petunias whisper, the daisies sigh. She's here for the salvia, the reason why. Miley's in the petunias, oh what a plight. Smoking my salvia under moonlight. I sow my seed, she's a thief in flight. Miley won't stop, try as I might. I leave her notes, please. let it grow. This ain't the place for your secret show. But each morning's clearer, the tale's retold. The salvia's gone, she's got that bold. So I bought a scarecrow, a gardener's shield, arms wide open in my sacred field. But late last night, by the willow tree, the scarecrow smoking is that Miley I see. In the petunias, oh what a plight. Smoking my salvia under moonlight. I plant with care, she sneaks at night. Miley won't stop, try as I might.
All right, everybody, there you go. So I've got the seed dahlias over here. I changed my mind, I'm sorry for toying with your emotions. I'm not gonna put in that red drift over there. I just can't bring myself to do it. Iceberg, burgundy and iceberg white duo is gonna go right there. I think that's gonna be real pretty. I think this is gonna be really pretty too. If I can keep these things alive, I fed them good. I fed them good like I normally do with some annuals. I mix in some of that slow release with the backfill, and then I give them another hit on top, and then I'm gonna mulch them. You guys don't need to be here for that, but the hellebore, I'm gonna take the hellebore to Affinity Estates. I am just not ready. If you see this line of hostas back here, that is the only shade that I have, is that one strip. I really need to clean some of that out. Those hellebores were such a good deal though. It was really hard to pass that up. So I'm gonna plant those at Affinity Estates probably this weekend. I'm probably gonna take some big clumps of hostas down there too while I'm down there. Maybe every other one I'll pull out. The problem is I don't have any soil, so when I displace that soil, it just turns into a mud pit. I guess I deal with it. I pulled these hostas out last year and just put them in a pot. Where am I at? Right here. I put them in a pot. Those will probably come out. I'll take those and then I'll pull out every other one of those and I'll take those down there. The problem is I'm kind of flooding that giant hosta bed with these hostas because they're free. There's not gonna be enough variety in there. It's just gonna be a sea of these hostas. They water enough, which they don't. So I've gotta address that and take care of that. Get them some hillbilly irrigation set up to where they can just plug the hose up to it and then walk away. Guys, thanks for coming along. My name's Stuart Moore. This is Landscape Rescue, and thank you very much for letting me into your home talk about plants.